Hey everyone, this is Xarian, and this is a video explaining how to fast scroll in Pokemon Red and Yellow. Fast scrolling is a technique that allows you to perform certain menus faster in speedruns, and it's actually pretty easy. The basic idea behind fast scrolling is that if you're holding up or down before accessing your inventory, you can scroll and use items within your inventory a bit faster. So there are 3 applications to fast scrolling, and all 3 work in red, but only 2 work in yellow. So I'll start by showing the 2 that work in both games, and then I'll show the last one that only works in red. So when I say inventory, I'm referring to this menu right here, which is your list of items. This menu is also available during fights. And then this is the main menu right here. And in fights, the main menu is just where you can access your list of moves, switch Pokemon, or run away. So the first application to fast scrolling is to just scroll down to access an item in your menu. This occurs in several places throughout red and yellow runs, such as this fight right here, when you're escaping from the ghost in Pokemon Tower. So what you want to do here is be holding down before you start scrolling to get to your Pokédoll. And you can do that by just pressing down to get to item and then holding it. Don't let go of down, because if you do that, then the scroll is going to be slower. What I see a lot of runners do is they'll just press down once to get to item and then press A and then press down again. And what happens when you do that is you see that little pause there. You have to be holding down before you start scrolling in order to not get that pause. So this time I'm going to do it with fast scrolling. So you see there wasn't a pause there, and that's because I was holding down before I pressed A, and then I just didn't let go of down. Here's an example from Pokemon Yellow. And here I'm in the field rather than in a fight, so I'm going to open up the main menu, and you'll see the cursor is on Pokédex. What I'm trying to do here is teach Bubble Beam, because I need to do that before fighting SSN Rival. So I just need to go down to item and then be holding down as I start scrolling to get to Bubble Beam. If I just press down twice and then let go as I press A and start to scroll, then it'll look like that. See that little pause at the top of the menu? So now I'll do it with fast scrolling. Press down and then just hold it. And I start scrolling right away. Saves like 0.3 seconds. And this is actually pretty easy to do, because when you hold down in this main menu, it doesn't scroll. So if I just press down once, then twice, and then hold, I'm not going to start scrolling to A, save, option, exit. It's just going to stay right there. So I don't need to mash really fast. I just need to be holding down as I press A, and it's going to start scrolling immediately. Now this doesn't work if your cursor is already on item, because if you try to press down before getting to your inventory, you'll go down to your trainer card, and you can't time it so that you're pressing down in the lag between pressing A and then seeing your menu. You're just going to get that little pause right there if you do that. So there's certain menus in the game when your cursor is already on item and you just can't fast scroll. So that's your basic scroll down. The second application to fast scrolling occurs when you need to swap items in your inventory, such as in this fly menu that's coming up. I need to swap the item in slot 2 of my inventory with super repels, and the item in slot 3 with X accuracies. You'll see that when I open my menu, the cursor is on Pokemon, so I can just press down once and hold, and then when I get to my inventory, I'll just start scrolling right away. But this time, instead of scrolling all the way down to use an item, I'm going to press select right after I press A, and that's going to allow me to swap the second item in my inventory with something below it, and it'll just fast scroll through the whole thing. This doesn't work if you need to swap the first item in your inventory, because by holding down, you're automatically moving the cursor to the second item. So I'm just going to press A here, and then I need to wait like a few frames. I can't just immediately press select, but it's a pretty large window, so it's pretty easy to hit this. Just press A and then select, and you'll see I was able to start fast scrolling and then swap the item. And I'll do the same here with X accuracy. This time I'm just going to press down twice and then hold. And you'll see it starts fast scrolling, swap, and teach HM02. So if you're not holding down throughout that process, then you're going to get a menu that looks like this. And this type of fast scrolling also works in yellow. An example of that occurs during the Pokédoll fight. Here you want to swap the 5th item in your inventory with X special. So I'm just going to hold down to get to my item and then hold it throughout the swap. Just need to time that, which is not too difficult with some practice. If I weren't fast scrolling, then the menu would look like this. So it's significantly slower. And then the last application to fast scrolling only works in red. And it looks pretty cool because it can make your menus look really fast when in fact it's just a very simple technique. This occurs when you need to use the 2nd item in your inventory. So a good example of that is when you need to super repel. Here I just exited the Celadon Center after Pokemon Tower, so I'm going to super repel and then bike west to the Safari Zone. Now in yellow, what you would do is need to open your menu, press down and then let go, and then press A, and then down and use your super repel, and then wait for that text box to clear before pressing up and using your bike. And that requires you to be pretty precise with your timing if you're going to do it fast. And it's pretty easy to make a mistake like using 2 super repels if you try to go too fast. But what you can do in red is just by holding down, you can use your super repel, and then if you switch to holding up before clearing the super repel text box and then start mashing, you can get on your bike. The only way to screw this up is if you're really slow with your mashing, and with just a bit of practice it's pretty easy to be fast enough. And like with basic scrolling, it's important that your cursor is not on item when you open the menu. It needs to be on Pokédex or Pokemon so that you can be holding down before you get to the menu. If your cursor is already on item, then you need to press A before pressing down, and that's going to cause you to double input and use the 3rd item in your inventory unless you time it really well. So can't realistically do it unless your cursor is on Pokédex or Pokemon. Or in the case of a fight, if your cursor is on fight and like you need to use a potion and your potion's in slot 2, then you can do it in a fight. So when you open your menu, you just need to be pressing down once and then holding it and then just mash A and you can use the 2nd item. And that works with like super repels, potions, in some cases the antidote in the early part of the game. And then you just need to switch to holding up before you clear this text box with A. So what I'll typically do is just mash all the way through and then just make sure I'm switching from holding down to switching to holding up within like a 10 or 15 frame window. And it just becomes pretty easy to do after a while. You just have to make sure you're focused on the menu. So that's all there is to it. It takes some practice to get used to it, especially if you're used to old menus, and then if you're switching between red and yellow, it can be a little bit annoying with that last application because it only works in red, but it does make your menus a lot faster and easier. You're going to make fewer mistakes once you get this down because it's just easier with holding down rather than timing your inputs. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or just contact me directly. Thanks for watching.